What follows is an extract from one of the first books written about broadcasting. Broadcasting from Within was written by C.A.Lewis, organiser of programmes at the BBC, and published in 1924. Towards the end of the book, Lewis pens some brief biographies of characters involved, both on air and behind the scenes. One of those is my grandfather, Henry Joseph Round, but strangely, he is not named. He is referred to as the Tame Wizard. Lewis writes, "The Tame Wizard. It is only right that in this mysterious science of wireless telephony there should be a mystery man. There is such a mystery man connected with broadcasting. He is excessively reticent both about himself and his work, and for this reason I am not giving his photograph or even his name. He worked equally mysteriously, and as a consequence without that widespread recognition he deserved, during the war, and I am told that his work with direction-finding apparatus located the German fleet coming down the Kiel Canal and timed the Battle of Jutland. I am told, too, that he possesses records of exactly what the Zeppelins said when they talked to each other in their raids over London, and many more interesting things of this nature. But as far as wireless telephony goes, he is one of the great brains in the country. I doubt even if there is anyone living who knows more about the technical side of wireless than the Tame Wizard. We call him the Wizard because he is constantly helping and advising us in all our work, and has an uncanny faculty of spotting defects and improving the quality of transmission. We call him Tame because of his twinkly smile and his good-heartedness. A year ago, we were using ordinary commercial telephone microphones. They were very imperfect in the reproduction of musical sounds, and it so happened that one day the Wizard wished to get a standard transmission on which to test some receiving apparatus. He was surprised and annoyed to find that the microphones then in use could not give him this standard transmission. So, much in the same way as one would set off for a round of golf, he decided to invent a microphone. Within 6 months, he had evolved something which rivaled anything that others had been able to produce. He accomplished this work not with an army of assistants, but with 1 or 2 capable helpers and his own immense knowledge, imagination and colossal work. For months he worked 15 and 16 hours a day. Enthusiastic as a schoolboy over every detail, he is often to be seen slouching about with his old felt hat and his greatcoat down to his feet, a cigarette in his mouth and a twinkle in his eye. Wherever he goes, he leaves his unmistakable traces of Vaseline, cotton wool, felt and rubber sponge behind him. With these, I believe, he would guarantee to insulate St. Paul's Cathedral against any form of vibration. He knows nothing about music and even whistles God Save the King out of tune. But he will tell you resonant points in a microphone or loudspeaker in a moment, give you the characteristic of either and how many vibrations to the second any particular note is doing. The Wizard is the most open-hearted, lovable creature you can imagine, utterly oblivious of everything except the work in hand, curt when he is busy and genial when he has leisure, untiring in effort and visionary in thought. These are the ingredients of genius, and that, I am afraid, is what we shall have to call him, and forget, as we readily may, all else. Having produced a microphone which borders on perfection, he has now turned his attention elsewhere, and we may hope to see some new marvels in the near future. Among those who know, he is recognised as a mastermind, and all his assistants will do anything for the chief. But wireless telephony is only a sideline of his activities. He will switch over from a microphone problem to consider the design of a 600 kilowatt set for the Imperial chain without turning a hair, and where the ordinary technician is baffled, he is only just beginning to take interest. You, O reader, as one of the many millions of listeners in the country, will listen with greater appreciation when you know that the perfect cello tones, the bright vocal qualities, and the natural speech have largely been made possible for you by this one short, modest little man, whose name you do not even know, who writes in the papers anonymously, who flies from publicity as a bat from the daylight, and who hardly ever speaks into the microphone he has perfected. It will add a touch of romance to it all, I hope, when you realise that we noisy people, with our books and our articles, have to stand aside and take a back seat when it comes to technical brains. Who is he, then, this colossus, you ask? Ah, that is a secret. He is the Tame Wizard.